Welcome back. Today we continue our celebration of Black history. We're taking a look at the organizations fighting for civil rights and social justice. Here's more. The 1908 Springfield race riots were the catalyst for the inception of the nation's oldest civil rights organization. On February 12, 1909 in New York City, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, or NAACP, was founded.
It's unique that you can be that close from something that made history and that is still continuing to make history.
Racial equity, civic engagement, and supportive policies and institutions for all marginalized people is the root of the work for the NAACP.
We prefer to be the voice for the voiceless because we think everyone deserves not only a seat at the table, but they deserve an opportunity to deep dive and to have their concerns and issues heard as well.
The NAACP also works in preparing the next generation of leaders.
We love to help people out. We have fun trips. We have fun as we stay educated and we learn more about Black Lives Matter, and that's mostly what the NAACP is about.
Members of the Youth Council also participated in a peaceful protest following the death of George Floyd.
We always want to strive for greatness and end racism and discrimination, just as our NAACP adult branch does as well. So we want to follow in the footsteps of great people, and we know it starts with young people, so we want to start that change as well.
Just a year after the founding of the NAACP, in 1910, New York City became the founding location for another organization seeking social justice, what is now known as the National Urban League. Their mission is to help African Americans and others in undeserved communities achieve their highest true social parity, economic self-reliance, power, and civil rights. The organization helps the community in several areas, including workforce development, educational development by tutoring kids, college students, and those looking to receive their GED, and even providing transportation or bus fare for those going to work.
We try our best to offer a wraparound service for the people who come into our facility. Anything that's necessary to ensure that our clients are successful. We try very hard here at the Tri-County Urban League to address all the issues that a family may encounter.
The local leaders explain how activism in the past can look different from activism today. Previous decades had many marches, protests, boycotts, and sit-ins.
The activism of the 60s was when people were more in tune to marching and speaking and bringing lots of attention to the concerns that the African American community would have.
However, there are additional methods of activism.
Some of the activism is the actual people with the boots on the ground offering these types of services that we have here at the Urban League that also assist in making life better. We have the political arena, we have the real-life community engagement arena.
The leaders acknowledge though improvements have been made when it comes to civil rights and social justice, there's still work to be done.
Do we see live lynchings as we did in the 40s, 50s? No, we don't see that. However, racism and discrimination is still alive. And instead of well, it's alive and sick, as I've heard people say before. So we still need to be there on the battlefield.
And coming up, an interview with leaders from the Bloomington Normal NAACP branch.
You're watching WMBD News at 4.
Welcome back. Today, in honoring Black history, we focus on organizations working towards civil rights and social justice. And joining us today, we have Linda Foster and Dr. Carla Campbell-Jackson from the Bloomington Normal NAACP branch. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity.
All right. So at first, we saw that the NAACP was founded in New York City, but we saw that the 1908 Springfield race riots was a catalyst for the founding of the organization. But there's also some ties to McLean County. Could you speak on that?
Absolutely, and what a great question. As we look at history, and that's why history is so important, that back in 1909, prior to that, 1908, there was a race riot in Springfield, Illinois. Now, during this time, blacks were thriving. Blacks was doing great things. Black was owners, and they were entrepreneurs. They were everything that they can be successful. And because of an accusation from a white person, a white woman, that she had been harmed by a black person, then everything blew up where there was a riot. And places where was known to blacks, that was home, that was thriving, no longer was. and it was destroyed. The area where blacks were doing businesses were destroyed. Those individuals, those men that were accused of this, were rallied out of Springfield and taken to McLean County because they deserved due process. And because of the sheriff at the time believed that they should have an opportunity to have a voice and to be able to have their voice heard, that then at that time they were shipped out of McLean County and then jailed in McLean County.
Right, thank you. So we saw that the youth participated in the George Floyd rally. We had the Springfield riots that caused the NAACP. We had the death of Trayvon Martin. Then we had the Dream Defenders. So could you just speak about how it's still prevalent for these organizations to exist for civil rights and social justice?
Absolutely. The prevalence of the NAACP and other civil rights organizations remains on the forefront for all that we do. Obviously, we know that racism and discrimination both are still alive and well, and that's a problem. That's problematic. So we do serve as a platform for members of our community to express any of their grievances. We're so proud of all that our young people have done, and we truly believe that galvanizing them is indicative of our passion for making sure the work that we do continues for generations to come.
Well, thank you all for joining us today. You can watch this full interview and our special story about the activism organizations such as NAACP and Urban League on our website, ciproud.com.